Here's 3 things I learned from watching Boris Johnson's speech at Tory party conference, so you don't have to. First thing we learned, Boris Johnson is a shapeshifter who also has a bit of an identity crisis. It was really quite striking that he kept referring back to his time as London Mayor, that socially liberal Boris Johnson who is in favour of things like marriage equality. So it seems to me that in emphasising his one nation credentials, Boris Johnson's a bit worried about being outfoxed by the Liberal Democrats in those tasty Tory Lib Dem marginals in the South West.
It's time to respect the Trade Subscriptions Act, my friends, and take the word Democrat out of Liberal Democrats.
There were also shades of red Toryism, an idea which was first proposed by Nick Timothy, in which the Conservative Party pledges key spending increases in strategic areas in order to block off the Labour Party's advances in those areas. There was a bit of culture wars Boris there as well.
Against the fratricidal anti-Semitic Marxists who were in Brighton last week.
It was quite striking that he framed Brexit not just as a matter of institutional arrangements with the EU, he gave those very short shrift indeed, and not just a matter of democratic legitimacy. He directly referenced Leave voting towns who felt that their views had become unfashionable or indeed unmentionable.
Somehow unfashionable or unmentionable.
So one thing that I predict is that in the event of a general election, that culture wars discourse is going to become a lot more prominent. Because as much as Boris Johnson needs to hold the Liberal Democrats at bay in the South West, what's much more frightening to him in an immediate sense is the Brexit Party. If they view culture wars as key to getting Brexit over the line, then so will Boris Johnson. But on Brexit, the main issue of Boris Johnson's speech, did we actually learn anything new? Yes, one thing, that his mum apparently voted Leave, as if we've not heard enough about that bloody family.
My mother voted Leave.
When it comes to the nitty-gritty, what the contents of an agreement with the EU might look like in terms of resolving the Irish border, there hasn't been anything of real substance offered either to the public or indeed to the EU. This idea of a buffer zone in which more than 600,000 people already live has already been greeted by scorn. So we still find ourselves stuck at this impasse in which Parliament wants to stop no deal but can't agree on a caretaker Prime Minister to do that, and Boris Johnson is stuck with Theresa May's deal which his own party won't countenance, or a no deal which Parliament won't accept. And the third thing, domestic policy. When it comes to domestic policy beyond get Brexit done, ideas were remarkably thin on the ground. There's be kind to animals, there's the Northern Powerhouse, which has had this sort of zombie second life through George Osborne's time as Chancellor, through Theresa May's administration, and now again under Boris Johnson. And there was the pledge that it is the Tory party who are the party of the NHS. But the key spending pledge there, that Boris Johnson will build 40 new hospitals, has already been debunked. Just this weekend, the BBC had to correct an article which had reported Matt Hancock's claims that the Tories would build 40 new hospitals. In fact, only 6 NHS trusts have been pledged more money, and they will probably be used to refurbish just 6 hospitals. So when it comes to matters of public health and policy, we only learned that Boris Johnson suffers from a rare genetic condition in which his brain can only process lies.